Welcome back to the Gweilo 60 channel. It's another day in sunny downtown Nanning, China. It's about 35 degrees outside, 80% humidity. Not even noon yet. It's like, holy smokes, it's gonna be a hot day here in the city. But that's not what this video is about. You know, the idea that the Western world ostracizes China because it has the word communism in its name. You don't think so? Okay, well, hear me out here then, guys. Is it really communist against democracy? And, you know, that's what it comes down to. Over the years in the Western world, and I'm the same as they are over there, I've been indoctrinated. If I never came to China, I would think that China is the worst place in the world. Yes, I would. And why would I think that? Well, because our mainstream media, politicians, everybody that's educated says so. And if they say so, obviously it has to be so, right? So communism bad, democracy good, and that's why they don't like China. Well, you know, most people in the Asian theater, let's call it, the Japanese, the Koreans, you know, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, you know, Indonesia, Singapore, they all have pretty robust economies. They all have high rises. They all have, you know, the same laws. If you get caught with drugs, you're putting your life on the line. They've got, you know, they've got so many similarities, and they're all Asian. They all look, well, maybe not when you get into Malaysia and Indonesia, but you know, the Japanese and the Koreans and the Chinese and even the Vietnamese and stuff like that, they all basically have that Asian look to them. So why aren't these other countries being demonized like China is? It's got to be the word communism. I'm telling you, if that word communism wasn't, well, no, that's not true either, because now that China's 1.4 billion people are coming up on being the strongest financial economy in the world, yes, they're set to surpass the United States. Well, now the United States isn't going to be the big boy on the block anymore. The United States surrounds China with military bases. Well, if we can't beat them financially, maybe we can beat them militarily. Well, but then again, you know, China's got the biggest army in the world, guys. So, you know, I don't think that'll work either. So, as people in the West spread the hate against China through mainstream media, through politicians, just through social media, through all of these different things, that's exactly where the hate for China comes from. They don't hate the Japanese. After World War II, they should, but the Japanese changed. Why? Well, the Americans put military bases in Japan. They had to change. They didn't have a choice. Vietnamese, well, the Americans were in there too, you know, killing how many hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese. Korea, oh yeah, they were there too, you know what I mean? So China, yes, they were here in China also. So, you know, the idea that China is the enemy is fabricated because the corporations in the Western world can't compete with China. The Chinese will work harder, they'll work smarter, they'll work longer for sure. They'll do all of those things that the Americans won't do, because the Americans and Canadians, they've got all of these, we're going to save the world, make it greener ideas, and so they sort of shoot themselves in the foot. Everything, and like, I go to Canada and I go and buy a head of lettuce, like I say, and it's $5. Over here it's 20 cents, 30 cents, you know what I mean? So they have a better government, but it's a communist government. Yes, but they have a better government. The government makes it easier for the people. They work on behalf of the people to make the lives better, to make the hospitals and the schools better, to you know, make the roads and the high-speed trains and manufacturing companies to research and development and technology to you frickin' name it, tourism to whatever. It doesn't really make a difference what it is. But you see, they're aggressive and progressive in all of these fields rather than fueling that military complex, industrial military complex that they do in the United States. In Canada, it's a bit different. We just have a stupid government. They figured that every car on the road should be electric. All of the oil and gas, natural resources should be shut down. We're going to save the world by ruining our economy. It doesn't work that way. You make more money, you develop more technology, and that's the way that you can turn the world into a greener place to live. But see, they don't look at it that way. Over here, it's I've shown you the windmill farms. I've shown you the solar farms, the windmill farms off the coast in the East China Sea, even on the mountains around Guangxi Autonomous Region. The solar farms in Xinjiang Autonomous Region. I've shown all of those throughout my little career as a little YouTuber here in China, and as the Chinese economy grows and gets stronger, they can put more money into stuff like that. But because it's a communist country, they're hated by the Western world. Because, I think it started with the Cold War and the Russians. The Cold War, after World War II, they put up the Berlin Wall and the communists on one side and the democratic people on the other side, and that's basically how it sat there for 50 years or whatever until Reaganomics took over and they tore down that wall. Yes, and then Russia sort of went into a tailspin, but that's not really true either, because after the Second World War, America, the United States, didn't recognize the Chinese government, the Communist Party of China, as the legitimate government of China up until the late 70s. I think it was 78 or 79, I think, when Nixon crawled into the scene. Could be wrong about Nixon. No, I'm not. But the idea that the United States was still looking at Taiwan and the nationalist government that got pushed back to Taiwan after losing the Civil War as the legitimate government of China. So these 20 million people on this little island that lost the Civil War are the rightful government of this 1 billion people, back then about 1 billion people, of mainland China. So because of that word communism, you know what I mean? Like, nationalism's okay, but communism isn't. So this whole, let's call it a misunderstanding or a tool. Maybe not, misunderstanding is the wrong way to say this. It's a tool to change your minds against a competitor, because that's what China is on the world stage now. It's a competitor for the almighty dollar. If they're not buying televisions from American companies, they're buying televisions from Chinese companies. If they're not going to buy cars from American companies, they're going to buy them from Chinese companies. If you're, computers to precious metals to whatever, it doesn't make any difference, because China's in the market to compete with the Western world, and they're doing a hell of a job at it. And because they're doing a really good job at it, the Western people, the Western politicians see that China is a problem, and they, as I say, and they say, they're eating our lunch. Well, they are, because we're allowing them to eat our lunch with stupid rules and regulations that we put upon ourselves that make it so we can't compete. We've jacked up wages and prices of everything in our world so high that to build anything there now, if it's not cutting edge technology that nobody else has, well, then you can't compete on the world stage. with the Chinese. But the problem is, the Chinese used to make little rinky-dinky toys and cheap plastic bowls and whatever. Now they're cutting edge technology too, so they've taken it to the next level, where we sort of stayed where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago, thinking that, oh, they'll never catch up to us because we are special. Well, now, guys and girls, Canadians, Americans, Brits, all you colonial white masters out there, I guess you're finding out now that you're not as special as you thought you were. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I'm gonna go find a beer because it's 12 o'clock right now, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that's all I have to say about that. And that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell, and put a couple bucks in the Patreon account. I could use some more beer money. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace out. Bye now.